News. That's why you're all here. So let's get straight into it, and let's start off talking about Lucas Bergvall. Some developments. Apparently, there has been a bid rejected from Nottingham Forest. John Percy says that Tottenham have rejected an initial bid of around £38 million from Nottingham Forest for Lucas Bergvall. Forest are set to make a second offer, with Bergvall their number one target after the sale of Elliot Anderson. Spurs' valuation is understood to be circa £50 million. Jay Harris as well, saying as well that Spurs have rejected an opening offer for Lucas Bergvall. Despite not agreeing a fee, Forest's interest in Bergvall remains and negotiations are expected to continue. And Himothy says that he understands that Tottenham and Nottingham Forest are confident of reaching a agreement over a deal for Lucas Bergvall. Spurs are not holding a grudge on Forest. They want to mend the relationship.
Ooh, what do we feel about that? Mending the relationship with Marinakis, getting him back in our good books.
Like dancing with the devil.
Yeah, not sure about that. He's the one who kidnapped our one of our targets. And wouldn't let him out until he signed a contract by hook or by crook. He's the one who should be bending the relationship with us, not the other way around. Obviously, I understand we made a bid. We found out about this release clause. That was a bit underhanded, but the way they dealt with it was ridiculous as well. I mean, the way Marinakis dealt with it. So I think give us the cash that we want, and maybe we can let bygones be bygones. Who knows?
Yeah, and maybe just throw in a Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind that either. Yeah, look, I thought
who was the report from a few weeks ago saying that we had rejected a bid?
For Gibbs-White?
No, for Bergvall. We already heard that Spurs already rejected like 45 million bid, didn't we?
45, I think it was 45 million euros, was it? Yeah, we did hear that. I don't know who it was from. But the Telegraph, yeah, they also, after with the Tonali bid, we heard that we had a bid rejected for Tonali. They reported it quite a long way after that it was actually happened. Anyway, if they've bid £38 million, we're looking to £50 million. That sounds like a deal that can be done there. I mean,
£38 million is more or less 45 million euros, so maybe it's the same bid.
Yeah, maybe they're talking about the same thing. Wouldn't surprise me. But I think what Himothy's saying, they're both confident. I mean, if that's the price, I mean, if they got up to 45 plus 5, something like that, that sounds like a deal that can be done there.
Which is a shame. We've spoken about it to death, to be honest. It's a shame to see Lucas Bergvall going, not only because of the player he is or the player he can be, but also because of the squad numbers, which we'll do another video a bit later on that. But it could be detrimental letting all these players go in terms of building a squad to compete in Europe for next season. But just on the face of things, look, he wants to go, and if he wants to go, we'll get good money for him. So it is what it is.
Do you think there's in the report it says they want him to be the one who replaces Elliot Anderson? Is he up to that?
I mean, Elliot Anderson's obviously a top player, £100 million player now. I think maybe he can get there in the future. He's not there yet, obviously.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But they're going to assuming it for next season.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they'll be disappointed with him next season or whether he'll grow there. We'll see.
It's definitely a downgrade. I mean, that's obvious, but he's a player with a very bright future. So you're never going to replace like for like and get the exact same player, are you? Or it's hard to get the exact same quality as well. They spent 100 million on Elliot Anderson, so they had to buy someone that's going to grow into that role, and I think it'll be a very good signing for them. I do.
I mean, yeah, you do have to sign someone that's going to grow well. That can replace him, I think, as well. And next season they want to kick on from last season being in that relegation battle for a lot of the season, which was a big disappointment considering season before they gone to Europe, and now they had Elliot Anderson. He's obviously gone to Man City, and so replacing with Bergvall. I wonder if you're a Forest fan, are you underwhelmed by that? Are you disappointed by that? Or do you really believe he can come in and be the guy that can step up in his absence? I wonder how they're feeling, because I think it's a lot to ask of him right now to fill those shoes. It's big shoes to fill.
Of course. Be big shoes for anyone to fill at the end of the day.
But he's a 20-year-old who's only had a limited amount of experience in the Prem.
I think if they can get the performances of a base level performance of the season that we saw of him under Ange, and he only improves on that, then they've got an extremely good player there. Extremely good.
I'm just saying, if you're asking him to come in, play every game, and fill the void, or try and go some way to filling the void of Anderson, I think next season they might be disappointed if that's what they're expecting. If you're expecting a player to come in and play a part in your squad, and maybe in a year or two's time he could be a starter for you where he's at really a great level, then fine. If that's what you're expecting, then then you won't be let down. But I think if you're expecting him to be anywhere near filling the void for Anderson next season, you could be left disappointed. I think
you probably need to buy a few players
That's
to
what
fill
I'm
the
saying.
void of Anderson. It's not just going to be Bergvall alone, but it'll be Bergvall plus a few others.
But I'm saying the report says they see Bergvall as Anderson replaced, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does say that, but it's not like they're still going to need to bring in more players. He's the one coming in after Anderson, but they're going to have to bring in more players. Anderson, some of the work that he did is sometimes 2 or 3 players need to do that role in a team. But it's a different way of playing, different manager, different system. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on there. But I think he'll be a success there, for sure.
He might be, but whether Forest are a success with him in the team starting every week next season, that's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, they weren't a success with Anderson starting every week last season.
That's my point.
Yeah. We'll see. I think they'll have a better season this coming season. They got a better manager in. He's been a success everywhere he's gone. He'll find a good role for him, and they'll get better for sure. I'm no doubt about that. Richarlison. There's been a report on Richarlison, and pardon?
He just coughed.
Gazzetta Italia says that Juventus have opened talks with Tottenham over a move for Richarlison, who's available for around 20 to 25 million euros. Muani remains Juventus' priority, but Richarlison has emerged as an alternative option for Juventus.
Richarlison to Juve. I mean, it's incredible. They've just been burnt by Jonathan David, who they've had high hopes for, and he's been a flop. Openda's come in. They had high hopes for him, and he's been a flop. Vlahovic, has underwhelmed, let's say. He's come in and he's underwhelmed. And now they want Richarlison to be the one to fix their problems? I mean, that would be baffling to me. I don't believe it. Surely not.
We talk about Richarlison, about, the physicality and everything, and maybe he's not there as a Premier League player anymore. But can he not do it in Serie A? Even in England, he's still got a very good goal-scoring record.
Yeah, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a fine player. He ain't if you're Juve. I know Juve are not maybe the Juve they used to be, but still, surely you got to aim higher than getting someone like Richarlison, who's unwanted goods at Tottenham. Like Jonathan David and Openda were main players for Juve and for Leipzig at the time, top goal scorers in their leagues. They were obviously highly sought after. Right now, Richarlison I've been one of Richarlison's biggest champions in terms of not thinking he's utter dog shit like a lot of people do, and thinking there's actually some quality there. He does score when he does play, but I understand it's time for him to move on. We need to upgrade, and we need a better kind of level of striker. So for Juve to look at that situation, especially with his physical problems, and think, look, maybe if they're signing him to as one of 2 strikers, that maybe can make a bit of sense, but just, I don't know. Surely you're not signing
players go to Serie A that have washed in the Premier League, Victor Moses, Ashley Young. The list goes on. There's so many of them, and they go and smash it in that league. So I think he can actually do quite well for Juventus.
Yeah, maybe, but he's not Juve quality, surely.
What is Juve quality now, though?
Yeah, but they're still Juve. They're still Juve. They want a certain standard, don't they? Mm-hmm. You would think that's what they demand, and you'd want to get a lot higher level than what Richarlison is currently looking at the moment. So I would be shocked if Juve are actually going to go for him. As I say, maybe if they're signing another striker on top of him, like someone who's a bit better.
The thing is with Richarlison and this Juventus thing, I think for the Juventus fans it would be a very underwhelming signing. It would be, after Spurs fans, how much we've been complaining about in the last couple of years. But I actually think it could be one of those underwhelming signings that actually work out well for them. I think he would do well there.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't disagree. He could probably get goals, but I'll just be shocked if a club of Juve's standing. I understand they're also not in Champions League next season, so maybe they're a bit strapped for cash. Maybe they're looking for decent deals. Maybe they see someone who like Richarlison, who has shown you can score goals even last season, and they think maybe we could do with someone like him. So from that point of view, I can understand it. I guess it depends where Juve are at. Maybe they're desperate. Maybe they really can't spend the money that it's going to take to get a high level striker in there. Maybe they're looking at Rishi thinking there is a proven goal scorer there. Let's kind of roll the dice. Let's see if we can get him on the pitch and get him scoring. But yeah, I'd just be shocked if Rishi ends up there. I just didn't see that coming. Yeah, I think he probably could score goals in Serie A, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. Let's talk about Will Lankshear. This is an interesting report from both Spurs Journal and Himothy, saying that Tottenham youngster Will Lankshear is another young player who may be headed for the exit this summer. Several clubs are interested in the striker, and a permanent sale is likelier than a loan move. And then that was Spurs Journal, and Himothy says that he understands Will Lankshear is up for sale, and it's looking likely that he's going to be sold this summer. So I think, was it Alistair Gold said that we rejected bids in 8 figures, talking about in the tens of millions here for Lankshear.
So how much are we demanding?
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, how much are you actually going to get for Will Lankshear? I think it'd be a mistake to sell him. I really do. I think we've mentioned before, strikers are so hard to come by. We've got one sitting there that, did well in the Championship last season. I think his physical profile is perfect for the Premier League. I think he's got, really good finishing. I would give him a go next season as part of the squad or another loan move. I really wouldn't sell him.
Yeah, as I've always said with Lankshear, it's really tough to say how is his level until you've seen him firsthand in pre-season, play some games. Obviously, he's done well at the Championship. He's done all right when he's given chances for Tottenham as well. And I think as an academy player, when we've got such high hopes for you, I think all Tottenham fans will want to see him get an opportunity, or I don't think we want to sell him, before he's been given a proper chance to prove himself, especially someone who seems to be on his trajectory, which seems to be an upward trajectory at the moment. When you've got a striker there who has the potential to score goals, it doesn't seem smart to throw him away for a cheap offer. It depends what the offer is, I guess. If they're offering, I don't know, if they're offering nearly 20 million, maybe you've got to consider it, but I can't see anyone doing that. If they're, let's say Ali Gold is saying 8 figures, let's say that's 10 million. So what would our asking price be for 15? 15, would you accept 15 million for him? Maybe that's a smart thing. Maybe he's never going to be a great striker. But in today's market, you're accepting 15 tomorrow. Even if he gets over 5 goals in the Premier League, all of a sudden he's like a 20 million pound player in this market. It's crazy, isn't it? That's how it goes. So I agree. I would like to see a given opportunity. But look, I'm not on the training ground, so I don't really know. Maybe Xavi's looking at him and thinking, look, this guy just ain't up to it. He's just not Premier League quality. Maybe that's the truth. And if that is the truth, then his stock is fairly high right now. So maybe, it would be worth getting that 50 million in, or because, maybe in a few years' time he's going to be at Dunfermline or something. You never know. But I would like to think that he's shown enough to at least get a small opportunity, or even another loan spell. Because let's say another loan spell at a higher Championship club, or even a lower end Premier League, and he does okay, that his value rises rapidly. So I don't think it makes sense right now while his stock is at this. I know it's quite high, but it could get higher. I guess on the flip side, he could move to another club and maybe flops completely and his value completely drops. But then what you losing out on? You're losing out on maybe 10 million. Which is obviously not great, but the upside of him having a good loan spell is his value could double.
It's like complete pure profit for, I don't know if that even the rule anymore. Pure profit PSR, it's not a thing anymore, is it?
The profit
PSR is not a thing anymore, is it?
Yeah, you're allowed to use. You're allowed to use 85% in the Premier League of your revenue.
That's not a thing anymore. So.
Well, I don't know how that correlates to that element of it. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Yeah, but look, we'll see how it goes. But with Spurs already rejecting a minimum of 10 million, I find it hard that we're going to sell him. Like, who's going to bid more than that? I just don't see anyone doing that.
I wonder what kind of bid would tempt us. Look, then again, let's say we get a bid of 15 million plus a 20% sell-on plus a first refusal to sign back and all that kind of stuff. I guess that could make Tottenham think, maybe it's worth it. And I'm guessing if we were to sell him, that's the kind of structure of the deal we would do. So I would prefer either a loan deal to a better club, higher club last season, or even a Premier League team, or give him a chance. I wouldn't want to sell him permanently, but if you get a good deal's a good deal, and I guess we've got to be better at selling players. I would wait until this pre-season is done though before making any decisions. Get him in front of De Zerbi, get him in the training games with the first team players and see how he is. He's clearly been working hard on the off season. He's released some videos of all that kind of stuff with him and Mikey Moore. So let's just, I think, De Zerbi take a look at him. But look, who knows? Maybe he's already had a look at him and made a decision. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Let's talk about some potential incomings. Let's start off with Eli Kroupi. Spurs journal saying that Tottenham pursuit of Eli Junior Kroupi is not the top attacking priority at Spurs. A deal has remained difficult with no progress on the club-to-club side, and Tottenham are not comfortable with Bournemouth's current evaluation.
So they don't want to go all the way to 100 million.
Yeah, it does make sense though. Like 100 million for Kroupi is insane.
It's insane. You could argue 85 for Fernandes is insane. 100 million for Tonali is also probably a bit much.
Yeah, but I think Kroupi 100 million is more insane than those two deals.
Yeah, probably after one good season, and he's only 20. I understand
it's not
that.
even like one good season. It's like half a good season.
I mean, it is crazy. It is crazy. But you got Boadi. They're demanding 100 million for him, and apparently City are considering it. The market is nuts at the moment. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I think objectively, if you're like someone who's weighing up what market value is for players, and it's your decision to make those determinations. Obviously, you don't come out at 100 million for Kroupi, or you're massively overpaying. But reality is, if you don't get him this summer, you probably won't get him at all. That's the truth. So you got to make that determination with how much you really believe in his quality. Do you believe this could be the guy to be a very, very special player? Or is he just a prospect who had a good season and he's a bit of a risk? Obviously, all signings you have an element of risk, but what you've seen from Kroupi in the Premier League, you just get that feeling. I get that feeling this guy is going to go on to big things, in my opinion. So you've got to basically make the decision: do we go big for him now, or basically not go for him at all, or basically risk missing out on him completely, which is the likely scenario down the line. If he grows into that player that he might do, and then Arsenal, PSG, other clubs start circling, and we might be out the race. Because right now, no one's willing to go as high as 100 million. So it's whether we put that money on the down or not.
Yeah, I mean, if that is Spurs' position, I do completely understand it. Yeah. I do.
I would have understood if it was Fernandes as well, but they didn't. You know what I mean? If they turned around and said 85 million is just too much, I would have thought fair enough. It probably is, but they didn't do that. They actually went and put the money down, which is why we're all shocked, right? Because they actually went and put that money down for Fernandes when he probably wasn't worth that amount. So that's why when we were talking about Kroupi, they're like 100 million is a bit crazy, but you know what? They've been putting these crazy figures down. Maybe they're just going to do it. Maybe they're just going to put the money down. But objectively, 100 million would be a bit too crazy for Kroupi. You shouldn't really do it, but on the flip side, it might be worth it.
Fernandes, for what he's shown in the Premier League in his past 2 seasons, I would say I don't think it's a crazy overpayment for Fernandes. I think you're probably looking at 65 around that kind of figure. So you've overpaid by like 20 million. Kroupi, I think from what he's shown, obviously he's an unbelievable talent.
He's an attacker as well. He's
an attacker as well. True. After half a season, you'd probably say about probably the same value as Fernandes, right? 60 million.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is more than double the overpayment on a Kroupi than it would be for a Fernandes. The same with like Tonali. He's probably like an 80 million pound midfielder.
So I'd say 70, yeah. And we've overpaid by about, yeah.
So these were overpaying for like 20 million-ish. Like this would be like a 40 million overpayment. That is just mad.
It's a lot. And as I say, it wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't be like, oh, they're crazy for saying no. But also wouldn't be like they're crazy for saying yes. I think we can afford to do it. There's no point having this financial muscle if you can't flex it. That's kind of my theory. So if they're steadfast on it, as we've said as well, if you're looking for Prem-proven attackers, I mean, especially strikers or central forward players like Kroupi is, they are very few and far between right now. You can't really. There's not too many who you would want to sign. So someone like Kroupi, his stock is extremely high because there's not too many central attackers right now.
Look, don't get me wrong, I would do it. I would do it, but I could just understand the club stance on it.
Yeah, completely. I think most clubs. This is why do you think most clubs are obviously going to walk away when it's 100 million? Because it's a crazy thing to do. It's a crazy thing to demand. But we're in a position where we have the money, and we kind of need to overpay to convince players to come to us and convince clubs to sell to us because of the situation we're in. Because we can't convince them from a sporting project we can't really convince them from a sporting project compared to these other clubs. So what we got in our favour is money, essentially. So yeah, if we don't get him, as I understand, we don't want to go to 100 million. But then who are we going to get up front?
Yeah.
Who are we going to get? But then again, to be fair, Kroupi does have that other element to it, which we've spoken about before. He's not really a striker, so you're signing him, but where does he actually fit in? Are you playing him up front? Are you playing him in the 10? Those are obviously big questions. So are you signing a player for 100 million where you're not 100% sure what his role in the squad is? That's obviously what you got to determine. But if De Zerbi looks at him and says, no, he's going to play up front, or he's definitely, he knows his position, we're not signing him just because he's a good player, we're signing him because he's a player that we need, then, yeah, go spend the money.
Let's talk about Savinho. Interesting development on Savinho. Looks like he could be the next one in. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham are ready to go back in for Savinho and are preparing to reopen negotiations with Manchester City. Both De Zerbi and people at Spurs want him. Savinho is quite open to the move regardless of no European football. SZY says that Tottenham are now accelerating a move for Savinho. He is the chosen target. And Himothy saying Savinho is looking likely to be the next player through the door at Tottenham Hotspur. And I think we could have all maybe have predicted this stuff coming out today, because last night someone responded to Xavi's TikTok saying, is this happening, with a picture of Savinho and Xavi mocked up in a Spurs shirt, and he just sent the eyes emoji. So look, I think this deal has been obviously in the pipeline for ages. Savinho has been literally non-stop hounding Spurs players on social media. We saw the post from Xavi a while ago with him and Savinho. Now this. I mean, this deal is going to happen.
Yeah, it seems as though this one's... Well, I mean, we've said it so many times, haven't we? But this deal has been in the offing for such a long time. I mean, we even talked about last year. Apparently, Romano's just retweeted...
his original
post. So there you go. So when it comes to this deal, I guess there's two things. It's like, yes, it looks like he's always heading in the right direction. It looks like Savinho wants to come. It looks like we're desperate for him, but it's been rumbling on for so long. So have Man City now made a decision? Are they happy now to take the money? Has that become clear? Are Tottenham willing to maybe push that extra bit to get this over the line? I don't know what's changed, but it seems as though things are moving. Let's see. I think, as I've said, I really want him. I think he's a top talent. I think he can offer things now, not just in the future. I think he can really help creatively on the wings. I think him and Kudus could be such a good wing partnership in certain games. So I really rate him, and I really rate his talent. I think it's a really good opportunity. But it's going to be interesting to see when it breaks, like any deal agreed or anything. How much is it going to cost? We'll see. We'll see where it leads, because why is it taking so long? I don't really know. It doesn't really matter though, does it? Why it's taking so long, as long as the deal gets done. But I don't know what the hold up has been for so long. We've heard City's side. We've heard Tottenham are now weighing up their options. We don't really know exactly what the truth is, but I think he's a good player, and I'm really excited to see him in the Spurs shirt if it happens.
When he does sign, because he will sign, and when he does sign, and he gets announced, like, surely Xavi's going to be doing the announcement video.
Definitely.
No other person to do it, is there?
Definitely.
Xavi's been championing this signing more than anyone.
Yeah, Xavi, Agent Xavi has been hot on the case for Savinho. So, I think it will happen. I think it sounds like it will be done. But I don't know if it's imminent or it's going to take another few weeks. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Himothy says he's going to be the next one through the door, and he also says he won't be the last signing through the door either.
Yeah, but it's interesting they're saying Kroupi is, not our priority signing, so it seems like Savinho at the moment is.
Yeah.
But then who is it after that? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I know. You know, Tonali, Fernandez just came out of nowhere, didn't it, when the first links came out? So I'm feeling like it's going to happen again in the forward line. We're just going to start seeing some new names in there. I don't know who it could be. but it's going to be exciting. And last but not least, Neco Williams, John Percy is saying that Neco Williams is understood to be about to sign a new long-term contract at Nottingham Forest. So that's going to put that one dead. Obviously, he was linked to us last week. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Are they going to still consider selling Spence? Are they going to go for someone else? Like, what is the situation now? I know everyone is now saying, like, you've got to keep Spence. You've got to keep Spence. And with the performances at the World Cup, it's hard to disagree with that. I've always said, you know, I would keep Spence around. But if De Zerbi doesn't feel like he's the right profile of fullback for him, then, yeah, fair enough, go get the right profile. But I think Spence and Porro on the right-hand side is a really good dynamic.
But it's interesting to see if he signs it. Maybe they're offering Neco Williams a new contract to try and ward off interest from Tottenham. And maybe he doesn't do it. Maybe
he says he's set to sign it.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if he does. And if he does, then, yeah, we have to move on. We ain't going to come this summer. So that makes replacing Spence even harder if we lined up Neco Williams. For me, I'm obviously very happy to keep Spence. I've said it before. I'd probably... I've got no issue with keeping Spence with what he offers. But as you say, yeah, there seems to be something behind the scenes with him and De Zerbi. I don't know what it is, a clash of personality. Is it just Spence isn't the right player for him? Who knows what really is going on behind closed doors? But it seems as though De Zerbi would rather a different fullback as an option than Spence. But maybe, you know what? Spence has proven his whole career for the past 4 years has just been proving people wrong time and time again. Maybe it's time for him to prove De Zerbi wrong. Yeah. And that's very possible. That's very possible. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Spence says, you know what, I'm staying, and I'm going to prove you wrong. I hope that's the case. And as you've said, this World Cup is really, a lot of my friends who are like, beginning of the World Cup, like, why is Spence here? This is ridiculous. What a joke, a call up. And now they're like, how have you made him look so bad at Tottenham? Like, what is going on at that football club? Him and Porro, like, I think it's an achievement how bad Spurs have made them look because they're top quality players. So if Neco doesn't come, that's fine. But I feel like replacing Spence for me is too much hassle than it's worth. That's my feeling. Even if we can get a good fee for him, like, we're still going to have to replace him with a fullback as good as him, and that's going to have to cost a similar amount. So for me, I'd rather just keep Spence. It's a headache we don't need. But if we're desperate to sell him and we're not going to get Neco, it just makes it a bit harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, some of the narratives I've seen forming around Spence before he had these good performances, which is like, I saw Boovy was saying he's a championship level player.
Yeah, these people just never watching. They don't know what they're talking about.
It's just ridiculous, some of the things I've seen said about Spence. So, look, that is your Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today.